Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome back for Expeditions. As always, Peter and I are excited when you boys and girls watch. We definitely wouldn't want it to be on the internet for no one to watch. Well, tonight, Expeditions word of the night, I will be super quick so Pastor Josh can get up here, is the word thankful. Thankful. Things we can be thankful for. Now, before we get started though, my mouth is kind of dry. It was really hot today and I've been out in the sun a bit and I had a Coke. Some of you boys and girls know I like to drink Coke. I don't know where I need a drink. Oh, Peter! Perfect. I was a little parched. I'm thankful that Peter's going to help me open it. But be careful there before we have some more excitement. Oh, good. I'm thankful that Peter found my Coke so I can have a drink. Here's Pastor Josh with Thankful.
All right, so we'll get into talking about thankful and being thankful. And obviously we think about being thankful when good things happen to us. Most of the time we're not always thankful when something bad happens, but the Bible does tell us to be thankful in all things. We don't always understand why certain things happen. Well, tonight we're going to look at a man who had a pretty big struggle in his life. This man lived in the city of Jericho during the time of Jesus Christ. This man was born with an illness. It's an illness that he had his entire life, and I'm sure as he sat there by the side of the road outside of Jericho, he struggled with understanding why God allowed him to have this specific ailment. You see, this man who sat there on the outside road leading into the city of Jericho was born blind. To be blind means that he could not see. He didn't understand the beauty of the world around him. Now, he was still able to communicate, he was still able to talk and be able to listen and hear, but there was a limitation to his ability to understand the world around him. Now, we live in an amazing world today, and people that are born blind have an amazing ability to interact with us. We live in a world where there is a way that blind people can read. It's a system called Braille, which is pages with raised dots on them, and they can take their fingers and run them over top the raised dots and figure out what's going on. We live in a world with seeing eye dogs that help direct them from one location to another. We have a world that is set up for them to be able to communicate a lot easier. But back then, this man, his life consisted of sitting on the side of the road every single day begging for money. Today we have jobs specifically designed for people who are blind to be able to do. Back then, the only job that a blind person could do was to beg, to ask for other people's donations. Well, as he's there, and I'm sure each day he kind of questions, why am I still here? What is my purpose? Why am I born blind? He hears a crowd. He hears a commotion. Okay, and just like the rest of us, whenever we hear a crowd, whenever we hear a commotion, whenever we hear loud noises, we're kind of like, what's causing the loud noise? What is it that everyone is doing? Once again, he can't see the large crowd. He doesn't know whether they're coming in the city, out of the city, but he can hear them. And he begins to ask the few passerbys who are traveling through, the travelers, and saying, hey, what's all the noise about? Why is everyone so excited? Where's everyone going? And the people look at him and they can tell he's blind. Probably some of these people had seen him there begging every day, and they say, it's Jesus. Jesus of Nazareth is here. He's coming to Jericho. And this man is sitting there and he has heard of who Jesus is. He knows that Jesus has performed many miracles. He's heard how Jesus has taken other people who are blind and made them see. He's heard that Jesus could potentially be that coming Messiah, the one who would die for the sins of his people, the one who would be the king. He didn't quite know everything that was going on, but he knew that if anyone could help him, it was Jesus. And sometimes we're like that. We don't know what's going on. We're confused. Something's happened with our family, a friend, and we don't know what to do, but we can always trust that God, Jesus, can help us. So the blind man stands up and begins shouting because he can't really run. Like if he runs, he's probably going to trip on something and it's not going to be a good thing. So he just begins shouting. He says, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. And he's shouting and trying to get Jesus' attention. And the people are like, shh, quiet. Jesus is teaching. Stop talking. All right. And he's like, no, this is like my biggest opportunity in life. If anyone can heal me, it's this Jesus. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to sit back. I'm not going to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe he'll just come my way, hopefully. No, he was going to pursue. He was going to do whatever he could. We are the same. We need to be the same way. God is the only one that can help us in many of our situations in life. We shouldn't just sit back and say, well, maybe somebody will come and talk to me about it. Maybe you have that hurt that's going on inside right now and you don't know who to talk to. The first person you should talk to is God. Then seek out a godly influence in your life. Maybe a teacher, maybe a parent, maybe a youth pastor, maybe a godly friend. But don't be afraid to tell. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't hold it inside. This blind man, he wasn't going to wait any longer. He cried out. He cried out. And Jesus comes to this man. He hears him. Now, Jesus is God. He knew the man was there. He more than likely knew ahead of time that he was going to heal him that day. But Jesus walks up. Jesus goes to the man, and in my perception, he asks kind of a funny question. He says, what do you want me to do? And obviously, okay, the blind man's like, duh, I'm blind. I want to see. Can you help me? All right. But Jesus asks, he's like, what can I do for you? And the man begs and says, Jesus, would you please allow me to see? Would you please let me see again? Actually see for the first time. And so Jesus says, I will. Be thou healed. Your faith has saved you. It was nothing special that man did. It was no special words that he said, but it was his faith, his belief that Jesus was the only one who could help him. When we talk about salvation, that's the exact same thing. Our faith in Jesus Christ, because he is the only one who can forgive us of our sins. There is nothing that we can do. We can't earn it. We can't do enough good things. We're like that blind man shouting out saying, God, help me. I can't run anywhere when I'm blind. When I'm a sinner, I can't run anywhere to get saved other than shouting and crying out to Jesus Christ. That's what the blind man does. And Jesus says, be thou healed. And he opens his eyes. I can't even begin to imagine what that was like. To have never seen anything. Now, he would have been able to feel and get shapes and understand that, but how do you describe to a blind person the color red and yellow and blue? And to see that first image, the first thing that he got to see was the face of Jesus Christ, the face of God himself. How amazing that must have been, and to be able to finally see. And I don't know about you, but when something exciting happens, I know some people who are just like, cool. All right, maybe you know some people who are like that. They're just like kind of like even-toned. All right, they're just like, yep, cool. All right, I have a friend who's very even-toned, and anything that happens exciting to them, they're just like, yeah, okay. But this blind man, when he received his sight, he wasn't like, oh, I can see. Great, awesome, thanks. No. This man was so excited. He began to get up and jump and scream and yell and say, I can see! I can see! And began to cheer and thank God and worship God at that moment. He wasn't going to stop. He went everywhere telling people, look, guys, I can see. And Jesus healed me. And the Bible tells us at the end of this chapter, the end of Luke chapter 18, in verse 53 or 43, it says that the people that heard him rejoiced and worshiped God as well. We see that this man was thankful, and his thankfulness was contagious. Most of you know what the opposite of thankfulness is. It's complaining. And when we complain, the people around us tend to complain as well. But we see from this man, when he was thankful, his thankfulness was contagious as well. His thankfulness made other people thankful. I just want to look at 3 quick lessons from the life of the blind man, and we'll be finished. First of all, remember that God is behind every blessing and gift we receive. God was behind this blind man receiving his sight. God is behind the actions and events of our life. And we need to be thankful to him for all that he's done for us. Understand also, number 2, that telling others of God's blessing will encourage them to be thankful. Just like complaining is contagious, thankfulness is contagious. If you're thankful for something, someone else is going to be thankful for something, and then someone else will be thankful for something. And it will be an amazing thing. And then lastly, we should remember to never stop being thankful. Could you imagine if like 3 days later, the guy's like, oh, yeah, all right, I've seen it for 3 days now. I can go back to being blind. It's okay. No. I'm sure. Now, I don't know this guy personally. He's a lot older than I am, and he's dead. I never met him. He died long before I was ever born. But I am sure if we could go back and talk to this man from the Bible who lived there outside the city of Jericho as a blind beggar, I'm sure that every day he was thankful for his gift of sight. Maybe you have a relative or someone you know that had a car accident and they lost their vision for a time. They had a surgery and for a couple days they couldn't see. I bet if you asked them after that point how thankful they were to get their sight back, they would tell you that they thank God every day for it. Sometimes we're looking for the next big gift that God is going to give us and forget to understand that the gifts we have every day, the family God has given to us, the food on our table, the roof over our head, the church we get to go to, most importantly, God's love and salvation that he's given to us, those are things that we should be thankful for every